Today we are learning about Chapter 2, Lesson 9, which can be found on pages 131 through 136 in your textbook and online. Our objective is I can multiply up to a 3-digit number by a 1-digit number. Vocabulary is factor and product. Question 1. When multiplying, what place do you always start with first? Question 2. What is one way that you can check your answer to a multiplication problem? Okay, let's take a look at this video so we can learn about multiplying 3-digit numbers by a 1-digit number.
Hi, and welcome to Math Antics. In this video lesson, we're going to learn how to do basic multi-digit multiplication. Now this can be tricky at first, but don't get discouraged. It just might take some extra time and practice, but you'll get the hang of it. One thing I want to mention before we start is that multi-digit multiplication will be much easier for you if you memorize your basic multiplication facts. But if you don't have them memorized, then be sure to have a multiplication table handy when you're doing your practice problems. Okay, the best way to learn this is to jump right in. Let's try 137 times 5. Now as you can see, this is a 3-digit number times a 1-digit number. When you're given a problem like this, where the numbers are written side by side, you need to rewrite it in stacked form, with the ones places lined up the way we did with addition and subtraction. Now you might remember with multiplication that the order of the problem doesn't matter, so we could put whichever number we want on the top or the bottom. But it's always best to put the number with the most digits on the top and the one with the fewest digits on the bottom. There, now we draw our answer line below, and we put our time symbol to the left so we don't forget that we're multiplying. Okay, now we're ready to learn the procedure for multiplying. Basically, what we're going to do is break up this big multiplication problem into a series of small multiplication problems, or steps. Those small steps involve multiplying a digit in the bottom number by a digit in the top number. Now in our problem, we only have one digit on the bottom, and we're going to multiply it by each of the digits in the top number. And since the top number has 3 digits, that means that our problem will have 3 small multiplication steps. For the first step, we multiply the bottom digit, 5, by the digit in the ones place of the top number, which is 7. We always start with the ones place and work our way from right to left. So 5 times 7 gives us 35. Now just like with addition, when we get a 2-digit answer, we have to carry the first digit to the top of the next column, because it'll be in the way of the next answer digit if we don't. So the 5 stays down here in the ones place of the answer, but the 3 gets carried up to the top of the tens place column. Now it's time for the second step. We multiply the bottom digit 5 by the next digit to the left in our top number, 3. So 5 times 3 equals 15. But wait a second, there's that 3 we carried up to the top from the last answer. What do we do with that? Well, we need to add it to the answer that we just got. That's because that 3 was supposed to go in the tens place of the answer, but just not all by itself. We had to do the second multiplication step first and see what else needed to go in that answer spot with it. And it turned out to be a 5, the second digit of the answer 15. So we have to combine the 2 digits that both go in that answer place. That's why we add the digit we carried, and we end up with 18. But once again, our answer is a 2-digit number, so we leave the 8 in our answer line, and we carry the 1 up to the top of the hundreds place column. Now for our third and last multiplication step. We have 5 times 1, which is just 5. But again, there's that digit we carried up above so it wouldn't be in the way. What do you think we do with that digit? Yep, we add it to the answer we got from the multiplication step. So 5 plus 1 gives us 6, and that's what goes in our answer line. Okay then, we've done all 3 of our multiplication steps, and the answer to our problem, 5 times 137, is 685. Now that wasn't so bad, was it?
Okay, so let's take a look at this in our book. I'm on page 131. A lot of you guys might know this method. You might recognize it from the video from 4th grade, and it's kind of called the traditional method instead of the area model. So you might be used to this, but this is just a little more practice, and it might be unfamiliar to you too. So in this first example, it is 38 times 4. So the first step it's telling you is to multiply the ones place. So just like in the video, we're looking at that ones place, that 8 times 4, and we know that 8 ones times 4 is 32. So we can't just write 32 down here though. Like he said, we have to carry that 3. So we carry that 3 up here, and then our next step is to multiply the tens place. So then we multiply our 3 times 4 and we get 12. But then we can't forget about that 3 that we carried on top. So let me show you so it might make a little more sense. Okay, so 8 times 4 we had 32. So we put our 2 down here, carried our 3. 3 times 4, 12, plus that 3 that we carried, and it's 15. So our answer is 152. Here's an important step at the bottom, check. You can check your answer using the area model. So if you remember area model, if we have that 38, we're going to break it apart into 30 plus 8 times 4. So we'll do 4 times 30, which, remember that power of 10, 4 times 3 is 12. We can put that 0 on the end, 120. 4 times 8 is 32. If we add 120 plus 32, we get 152. So we were correct. Okay, so I just want to point out on page 132, it gives you another example, and this is a 3-digit by 1-digit multiplication problem. So it's the same steps, but it adds on that multiplying the hundreds place. So just like in our video, you start by multiplying the ones, then you move on into multiplying that tens place, and then you move into multiplying by that hundreds place. And once again, check. So always make sure that you're checking your answer. If you need another example, your homework helper gives you a good one. All right, so let's look back at these 2 questions. If you didn't get them from that video clip we watched, I think they're pretty clear on that first example I talked about on page 131. So if you want to look back at that, that should probably give that to you.